This is taclight, the military-grade flashlight that can actually stop intruders. Really? Today is my review of taclight, and I'm going to put to the test all the claims that they present in their advertising to see how accurate those claims really are. So today is my review of taclight. The advertising claims that you can boil it, submerge it in water, run it over your car, and freeze it. So I'm going to try putting all those claims to the test. The one thing I noticed when you first turn it on is that it turns on and off immediately, but to get to the other modes you have to push it halfway in, it takes a little bit of getting used to. Their claim that in case of an emergency that you could hit the strobe quickly when an intruder is there might be a little bit far-fetched, because you're going to have to find your flashlight, push the button, and then toggle through to the strobe feature. I'm not really sure if that's going to be the most effective self-defense method. I'm going to see how well the taclight does in lighting up a small room in almost complete darkness. So here we go. Okay. And here we go. Well, I have the room. I wouldn't say it's as bright as a light, but it is illuminated. I can see everything in here. So in that respect, it does work pretty well. Let me see how it works on medium, low. Not a huge difference, but there is a slight difference. Can the taclight actually handle being run over by a car? We're about to find out. Well, I'm kind of surprised it actually worked. It survived being run over by a car. Next up, we're going for the boiling water. Normally I wouldn't be in the kitchen when reviewing a flashlight, but today is an exception. We are making some taclight stew. We're going to put this taclight in some boiling water while turned on to see if it works like the commercial. Let's check it out. It still works. I have to admit, I'm almost surprised. What do you know? So far the taclight is 2 out of 2. Next up is a block of ice. So now that the taclight has had a chance to cool off, I have noticed one thing here. If you look at the light, there actually is water inside even though it still works. Look at this. So I'm not really sure what to make of that, but I'm going to continue my tests by putting in a block of ice. Even though there's water inside, that might affect things as well, but we'll see what that does. The batteries had a little bit of moisture on them. I was able to dump out the water from the front section. I'm going to let it dry out, put it back together, and then do the freeze test. A note about the Bell & Howell name. That is now licensed to third-party companies who use it on their products. You should not let the Bell & Howell name influence positively your purchase decision, because it really is just a name now. It's not associated with the Bell & Howell that you know, other than in name only. I'm giving the taclight a test. I'm going to go from one end of the yard to the other. It's about 130 feet, and we'll see how it looks with that kind of distance. This is zoomed in on high, zoomed out. At about 90 feet, you can still see the shape of the light. Kind of looks like a giant Pac-Man ghost out in the yard. So there you have it. It's 130 feet away from that test. It does illuminate the yard, but maybe not as dramatic as the advertising shows. There is a deluxe model, and I believe it's $10 more, that's rechargeable. That one is not available in stores yet. I don't like having to use three AAA batteries. You can probably use rechargeable batteries. I didn't test that out yet. Maybe I should have done that. Now for the frozen test. It has been frozen in a block of ice. I encased it in a plastic because it didn't work too well submersed in the hot water, so I wanted to keep the water out. But it is frozen, and I left the button out so I can engage the light while it's frozen. So here we go. I actually can't push the button, it's frozen. So I don't know if it's still going to work, but I can't push the button because the button seems to be frozen. I'm going to have to let this thaw out to see if it actually survived the frozen test. Okay, so I finally got the taclight to thaw out a little bit. It's still encased in ice, but it actually works while encased in a block of ice. Not bad. I think as a tactical flashlight, it probably is not a bad product. It's probably a good entry-level tactical flashlight. You can get less expensive tactical flashlights that will perform similarly. In fact, you have some that are nearly identical to that online that you could also look for. But if you're in the store, you see a taclight, I don't think it's a bad purchase. I wouldn't submerge it in water as they did, because when I put it in water for about 15 seconds, it did take on water. In fact, it took the rest of the night to get that water out of there. I had to let it dry out for several hours. That small problem aside, the taclight did a pretty good job. I mean, it's not one of your high-end tactical lights. There are those out there that are more expensive that far outperform taclight. But on the consumer level, I think people who are the average consumer to whom this is marketed, it's not a bad product. There are, of course, other options out there, especially if you're shopping online. There's some pretty good ones out there, and there's some less expensive ones. But overall, taclight, not bad. If you've tried taclight, let me know what you think, because you might have a different experience than I did. If you found this review helpful, I would appreciate a subscribe, and I will continue to bring you as seen on TV product reviews. Thank you.